Okay, so we have a Taylor guitar here with action that is much too high. Or even if you had the brute strength to be able to play it, it doesn't do you any good because it'll be a mile out of tune. All the notes become super sharp as you reach the top of the fingerboard. So a neck reset is the only way to go for this one. Now Bob had this up at the lake, and I guess it was pretty humid over the summer, and the top had raised up quite a bit. Now I put it up in the attic in the drying room for a few weeks to sort of bring it down a bit, but it definitely needs a neck reset. There's no way around it. Yeah, no point in even trying to do the intonation with the action that high. So first thing we got to do is get that label off so we can expose those bolts. I got a 13th thou feeler gauge there, and I'm going to try and get in under that label. So the trick with these labels is you want to peel them back like the page of a book. Don't take them off completely because you'll never get them back on in the same place. So I reached in underneath after heating it up with that hair dryer for about 3 minutes, and then just peeled it back and left the one side intact, and now we can loosen off those fasteners. So I got my extension with the proper sized socket on there. So I kind of get the socket into place. I have this pair of tweezers with 2 little bits of hockey puck on either side, so I can hold this level while I get my ratchet on there. There we go. And that's all we needed, was just to kind of crack it loose. And now it'll just loosen off by hand. That's the puppy. Okay, top bolt. So again, I just kind of cracked it loose. The rest I can just turn it out by hand. Now the last bolt is underneath the fingerboard, and I can feel that that was obstructing my pathway to the head bolt. So this fingerboard bolt should really come out first. And this, I have my little Taylor flag taped to that Allen key that I kind of cut down and shortened and rounded off here so that it works quickly for these Taylor guitars. And there you go. That comprises the 3 bolts that hold these necks together. Drop that off. We need to actually tilt the neck back, and that means that we have to take out the shim. So we're going to take all of the material off this end, actually on this side, and that will allow us to tilt that neck back, bring the fingerboard up, and that's essentially what we're doing. That's how we're going to tilt the neck back, by thinning this shim out on the radius disc sand with the conversion kit for the drill press. We do that very quickly, very efficiently. Been doing it for years. It works like a charm. So the foot switch allows me to get both hands on deck to hold this thing as we sand. Basically putting the pressure on this side. I don't want to take anything off this side. It's all coming off the tip. So that foot switch frees up both hands to kind of hold this thing onto the disc as we sand. So we'll put that neck back on now and have another look. And this, I'm just going to barely touch it. So now, when we run that straight edge along the center of the fingerboard and we come up to the bridge, that's exactly what we want. So we've got tons of real estate to adjust that action anywhere we need it. Now, as per usual, when you reset the neck on any guitar, you do have a little bit of a high spot here. We're just going to dress this area of the fingerboard, and then along the trajectory of the string path, it'll be dead straight. So just this little high spot right here. Like, this is good, this is good, it's just right at that neck junction. So let's do that. Okay, so we'll get that. Essentially, it's like one fret primarily. And just kind of blend this portion of the neck in with the fingerboard extension. So we're going with EJ19s, which is the bluegrass string on this one. It's kind of a light top and medium bottom or medium bass strings. The reason being is this guitar doesn't have any back braces, and so I thought it might be a better idea to go with a slightly lighter string rather than the straight mediums. Now that we've got the action where it should be, we can check the intonation. It was kind of pointless checking it up to now because those strings are way too high to even get a read on the intonation at the bridge. This will give us a better idea. I know that typically with Taylor I do cantilever those two middle strings. We'll see as this unfolds. Oh, and incidentally, the fret guard on this one is quite a bit bigger than I usually do, and the reason for that is all the circuitry for the preamp inside this guitar, it's not encased, it's wide open, so I just didn't want to get any debris kind of caught in that. But now that we're done all of the fretwork, we can go ahead and take this off. So before we go any further, I gotta fold that label back into place. And there we go. Once again, we've covered our tracks. Nobody would even know we were here. A little bit of a different take this time. I'm cutting the overhang back to the line. So the very last thing I did was just soften it a little bit by sanding, and we are now done with the cantilevered compensated bridge saddle. Now we turn our attention to the nut. Okay, so now when I fret the 12th fret note and I actually tune that fretted note to the tuner, the 6th string, and I play the 6th string open, that original nut, perfectly in tune, both notes, 12th fret and open. The A string, fretted 12th fret note, tuned to that note with the tuner, play open, the open string is 2 cents flat. Now the biggest discrepancy by far is the D string. So it's 7 cents flat. When I tune to the fretted 12th fret note and play the open string, that's the difference, 7 cents. Second string is 4 cents, high E string is 3 cents. What that means is I need to cantilever, or that ledge needs to hang over the end of the fingerboard a little bit. So these are the discrepancies for this compensated nut on the Taylor. You can see the G string was perfect. So the G and the low E, those two strings are perfectly in tune. Those values, or that focal point on the nut, will stay exactly where it is right at the end of the fingerboard. All the other strings need to cantilever past the end of the fingerboard. Well, I will bring you in for a look at the saddle and the compensated nut in a minute. Thought we'd start with the tuning test. So I've got that foam in there to stop the other remaining 5 strings from ringing sympathetically. Just get a better read on the individual notes. Okay, there's our A string. The compensated cantilevered saddle for Bob's guitar, and that's why, this is one of the reasons, it plays that accurately in tune. The compensated nut is the other reason. So we had the compensated nut, the neck reset, fret dress at the neck junction, and the compensated cantilevered bridge saddle. Let's go plug this one in. As always, the ultimate test is just playing chords, preferably the same chord in different positions on the neck, and that's what we're doing now. So here's A, here's B, C, D, E, F, G. This is another very simple check, and I've mentioned this in numerous other videos. Just playing that garden variety C chord. First position, I am putting that baby finger on the first string. Move it up 2 frets to a D. And then move it up to the 8th and 10th fret for a G. Very simple intonation check. A couple of subscribers asked about, well, what if you're playing chordal chords? They're fine. And I've used this many times before too, just a diatonic 10th. Or a 10th and a 6th. And that same movement on the top group of strings, 4th string for the bass, the 6th on the 2nd string, and then the 10th on the 1st string. Or you can mix any choice of open strings in this key, because all the open strings are available in the key of E. So that pretty well does it for our chord check demo. Okay, I do have a little progression I've looped in A major. So I have looped that phrase, and we'll just let that play.